why don't we introduce our judges first? That would actually be nice of me, wouldn't it? So we have Nellie Vera from Amenta Ventures, a Miami-based women's-focused fund. We have Marcia Dawood, who is the chairman of our #Women for Women's Forum and also a board member of the Angel Capital Association. And she is a general partner for Mindshift Capital, which is an international early-stage fund. She's one of our judges. Our chair is Dean Hatton, who's with the Fort Lauderdale-based Los Olas Venture Capital. He's chairing our group today. Tom Wallace, who's the managing general partner of Florida Funders, which is a Tampa-based but Florida-focused early-stage fund. They have a fund and they also have a crowdfunding platform. He's also here with us, and then my good friend Mitchell Lasky, who's been with us forever. And Mitchell is the managing general partner of the FAN Fund, an Orlando-based series of seed funds. And so that's our team. Let's give our judges a round of applause for taking their time to read dozens and dozens and dozens of GUST applications. So they've selected your finalists, and here we go. Let's start off and welcome Zindu.
Perfect. How are you? So my name is Steve Gelly. I'm a co-founder at Zendu. Zendu is a cloud-based monthly subscription providing bookkeeping and accounting services. In today's day and age, small business owners, they're simply flying blind. 93% of small business owners are running their financial statements directly from their bank account. And 82%, according to US Bank, who fail, are failing due to mismanagement of cash flow. So these companies are actually profitable the day that they shut down. The industry is the biggest problem. The CPA industry is archaic. They lack technology, it's outdated, and they're just not available for the small business owner when they need them. Zendu is a 100% digital sign-up and onboarding process. So our customers start a free trial. They select the pricing plan that fits them. They enter their contact information. That's how they want to be communicated with, not how the CPA wants to communicate with them. They get to choose. They fill out basic company information. This allows us to provide all the services, all the information for the services that we provide. Agree to the terms of the engagement letter. And they enter the credit card processing information so we can charge them. This is all done in under 15 minutes. With, as of 2 weeks ago, we've had a 4-minute sign-up, which we're extremely excited about. After the onboarding process, they're able to download a mobile app so they have their information at the speed of their fingertips. We had a client go into the bank, he needed a business loan, sat with the business banker. The business banker tells him, okay, go to your CPA, come back here, it's gonna take you about 3 weeks, you need financial statements and all that fun stuff. He said, hold on a second, he opened up his mobile app, he clicked on reports, selected the statements that he needed, emailed them directly over to the banker, and the file submitted to underwriting before he even left the office. The shiver down their spine, small business owners, we've all gone through it, the IRS notice. No problem with Zendu. You simply take out your mobile app, you click on upload, select notices so we know what's going on there, snap a picture of the IRS notice, and your Zendu CPA will actually respond within 48 hours to the IRS. We do this through machine learning. We've been able to implement machine learning to automate 80% of the typical accounting functions. We've 10x the productivity of our work staff. This allows us to provide the unprecedented 5th business day guarantee where our small business owner clients are able to get their financial statement pushed to their mobile app within 5 business days at the end of the month. Our pricing is very simple. We have 3 very basic pricing structures. 70% of our users select the growth package. This has almost all the services that a typical small business owner will need, including bookkeeping all the way through to the tax return preparation at the end of the year. The market size is made up of 28 million small businesses with 20 employees or less. If you move this 28 million into the Zendu pricing model, there's a total market potential of being captured of $67 billion. Our traction to date has been great. We've experienced 27% month-over-month increase since we launched in November 2017. And we closed out June with over $50,000 in monthly revenue. We have a great leadership team and a great advisory board, phenomenal staff back in our office to support us. My co-founder, Will Roberts, myself, and we have this board, this advisory board that is absolutely phenomenal. We're so lucky to have them. Brad Tuckman is in our office every single week. He was a former founder of Creative Drive. And Mike Morris is on weekly phone calls with us. He was the former CMO of Grasshopper. So together we have weekly strategy meetings to discuss client acquisition, branding, and messaging. The KPIs, our typical client, $188, that's a monthly recurring revenue. The ARPU is $22.56.
1 minute.
All while experiencing CAC of under $530. I'm a minute early, so I can answer a minute more questions. But thank you very much. Thanks Sup-X for putting this together, and it's great to get a bunch of like-minded people.
Judges, do you have any questions? Can you turn their mics on, please, Howard?
Yeah, Steve, I have a question for you. Scaling in the SMB space can be a little tricky. You want to talk a little bit more detail where you're finding customers?
Sure. So right now we're doing a lot of the traditional where we were a one-trick pony up till a couple of weeks ago, with just paid search and paid ad and social. We flipped into some outbound calls. We've had little resistance. I know we got to search and find them. Once we find them, the conversion has been really promising.
What's your proprietary technology that you use?
So it's a lot that's built around workflow processes internally. It's typically the 10,000 hour rule. So you don't really know what you're going to expect until you come across it before. We've had a lot of years in this industry where you're answering the same things over and over, kind of like you're talking to a child. And at that point, that's when you kind of realize there's some automation that can be put into place and some ability to streamline those responses. So that's basically what's supporting mine, without going into too much.
You mentioned users have access to a CPA, there's a manual part of this. Tell us about that, and how does that scale?
Sure, so we're layering service, so we're heavy service-based to our customers. By the automation, by us being able to 10x the productivity, it frees us up to actually talk to the small business owner. Now these are the small business owners, it's not very complicated questions that's coming across, but they need help. So we are communicating with them. Should I lease a car? Should I buy a car? Small basic questions that can be answered quickly. So our staff isn't down for hours doing research. It's more just opening up for communication.
So what happens once the company is no longer a small business?
We haven't grown out, so typically we could scale with them. What basically would make a company not a fit is when they hit the internal accounting department phase of their business, where they start building out their own accounting department, which these days with technology, there's not really much need for it. It's usually costly.
Who are your biggest competitors?
So the space is heating up a little bit. We are the only ones at this point that are handling the bookkeeping through the CPA. Bench is out there. They're probably the whale. They've been making the biggest splash. But they're only focused on bookkeeping. And so far we haven't really come across too many that are offering full services at our price point.
Okay, thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Let's get our next one lined up. Okay, next up is Gratify. Nathan, you reset the clock. Mic on, Howard?
Yes.
Let's go.
Now, this is a question that most of us as consumers have asked ourselves, which is, how do we avoid products that contains harmful ingredients? And this is not a trivial question, by the way, because at least 155 chemicals are consumed by each woman here every day, and these chemicals are known to increase health risk, such as cancer, hormonal imbalances, and much more. And even more alarming is the fact that these manufacturers are not required to test these chemicals for health safety. So the question is, how can consumers avoid products that contain chemicals of health concerns?
We developed an app, and it's called Gratify. So this app, what it does, it gives you, as you see in here, you scan, you get a product. It has a barcode. You scan, as you can see here, the product, and then what it will show you is the number of chemicals of health concern that it contains, as you can see in those 5 little red dots. And that is telling you how many harmful chemicals each product contains. However, we wanted to make it in a way where consumers are empowered to make choices and decisions, not only by knowing the number of chemicals of health concern that it contains on each product, but to giving you the option to choose something healthier. And therefore, what you do is, on the next slide, is you have the ability to be able to choose greener products, as you can see here in this case. Right now we're doing a live scan, and as you see here, that is giving you 3 choices, and you have 3 choices based on what? Either you can buy it online, or you can buy it in your store where you are. If you happen to be a Publix, or you happen to be a Walgreens, and if you find a healthier product, then you can choose from that location as well. So that's what we have developed. Now, how are we going to market this? The way we are planning to use this is by being able to give this opportunity, because we are as a startup company, we want to offer this to women that want to become moms or mothers, because there is close to $100 billion of purchasing power in this group of people. Therefore, the way we want to do it is by targeting key influencers such as health professionals. We want to do it through social media, and use affinity branding, which is aligned with the high-profile health-conscious brands.
So who are those in the space right now? Well, we have 4 of them, and the notable one here is Think Dairy. Think Dairy is our real competition, so to speak. But Think Dairy, they only have a very limited, product that you can scan. So what advantage do we have over our competition? One, we have access, into products from all over the world. 2, you can actually personalize our app to your own individual need. 3, our app have the ability to learn how you are using the app, for people targeting. 4, which is most important, is you can actually advocate for greener products using our app. There's a whole lot more, more advantages to save time.
So this is our team. I am a scientist. My area of expertise is on genetics. He is also a scientist. He's of toxicology. We have Lean, who is our marketing specialist, Malish, who is our technology specialist, and Bruce, who is our corporate attorney. So what do we have so far? We have shown so far, and this is really, again, at the beginning phase, that giving to only 50 mothers, they have, through word of mouth, given it to their friends. And as you can see, in 6 months, we almost grown to almost 300. It's a 3-fold increase without having really to advertise our product. And these are our revenue model.
So this app intends to make money in 3 ways. 1, through in-app ads. 2, affiliate commissions through online purchases, and of course, sale of data of customer shopping behavior. And we project that after 5 years, we should have a net revenue of about $43 billion. So right now, we're asking for about $500,000 to get us to where we need to be.
So please join us in our mission to empower consumers to make healthy choices. Thank you.
Judges? So, yeah, I have a question. How do you reconcile the idea of creating ad revenue and being the arbiter of healthfulness of the products?
They're very good questions. All we do is provide a platform whereby when a consumer have decided that they don't want to buy a product, advertisers will directly advertise to them. We don't have control. All we ask is that what they advertise, meets our value, which is no harmful ingredients. So there's no conflict in the sense that we don't tell the consumers, what they buy or what they see. the advertisers target them directly based on the data of the shopping behavior that we've already collected.
If I may add, when I was making the demonstration, I didn't have enough time, but in reality, what I wanted to show is that when you saw the 5 dots, that gave you the numbers of chemical of health concerns or harmful chemicals that each product contains. But on the choices, there were greener, healthier choices. Those choices had 0 chemicals of health concern. And that is our mission, to be able to empower the consumer to buy, if possible, and if they decide to, those healthier products. It's education as well. Education, awareness, empowerment. That's our goal.
Have you had conversations with possible advertisers that would meet your criteria?
Yes. Yes, actually, there's a company called, what's it called again? Beauty Counter. When we won the Miami Herald competition, they reached out to us and asked us, they said, when you are ready, to start advertising, at least cosmetics, please, reach out to us. Also too, there's a company called Thrive, they're like the online marketplace, just like Amazon.com, where they have, greener, products. So we are talking to them, and we've already, I would say it's an agreement, where what they say is, bring us the traffic. Once you bring so many traffic, we pay you so much. But the app is not quite where we need to get traffic over there, which is why we're here, hoping to raise some money to get it to that point whereby we can start driving traffic to places like, Thrive.
So right now, we're in the beta phase. And so whenever we scan a product, for example, any product that might be, and we're focusing right now on baby products, we may not have the capability of showing all the products that we have on the store and online. So our goal is to really make it to the level where we can launch our app so that, people can use it and can really, make use of our products and our services.
So you'll get affiliate revenue then when somebody clicks on the product and goes to like Amazon?
Yes.
Obviously, to get a lot of advertising revenue, you have to have a lot of users. How do you plan on getting this out? What's the marketing strategy for acquiring users?
Yes, there are a lot of people, a lot of social media influencers out there that literally they are concerned about harmful ingredients in everyday product. A lot of them. So our plan is to at least partner with them to get our app out. Also, we have some I won't call it like a strategy, which is to actually take a well-known brand, right? Let a user demonstrate a well-known brand and scan to say, okay, this brand contains this many harmful ingredients, and it's an alternative. And we believe that when they do that, they might get the balls to say, oh, let me try to use this app for other products. So we have quite a few strategies out there.
And also, I work in the healthcare industry. So for example, going to the children's hospital, going to general hospitals, talking to physicians, to doctors, they will be able to advertise our product. Why? Because it's really giving choices for people to get something that would help them, to live a healthier lifestyle. So that's the idea. Besides doing social media, besides, talking to all these different greener brands, I think that will be also another source where we can do the marketing.
How long have you been under development thus far? When did you found the company?
We found the company in 2015, right? Yeah, but really the product itself, we didn't launch until 6 months ago. That when it was really we pilot tested the product, we pilot tested the app.
And you have 300 downloads?
And we had 300 downloads, and we only pilot tested with 25 women.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they actually went and told their friends. And that's the reason why now we have up to 300 there's no other source for us to do any type of advertising.
And of the investment dollars that you're seeking, how much would be needed for the development of the app to get it ready to connect with Thrive? Because Thrive would be a huge win. It's essentially the other variation of Whole Foods, so.
That's great. We're not going to particularly, the answer to that question, but our general plan is that at least, half of the money, right, will go to partnering and developing the app. Then the other half of the money, or part of it, will be to buy quality data. The data we have right now of the products are imperfect because it was based on scraping websites, and so you get a garbage from our website. When it comes to our app, it becomes garbage. So, but it's a company that has, 98% quality data, and they say you must pay us first to have access to our database. So part of the money that we raise will be into actually working with those guys.
But it's an ongoing expense because as new products come out, you have to continue paying them.
It isn't an ongoing expense, but I want to add to that this company that we want to partner up with, it's a global company. And our idea is not local, it's global. But we want to start local first, and we want to start with paying products just to start launching the app itself. But eventually, our goal is to go global, because if you think about it, everybody in the world, they have a smartphone, right? So anybody can actually, whether it's here in Europe or China, they can scan their products and determine the number of health concerns, of chemicals of health concern. Why? Because it just shows, it's very simple, it just shows the little dots. It is nothing, there's nothing complex about that. And that's the reason why we try to make it very simple and easy to use.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up is Quicker Care.
How you doing? My name is Alex Costella, and I'm one of the co-founders of Quicker Care. My colleagues and I are creating an experience to create a zero-wait experience for any patient having a minor emergency. And we're doing that because my neighbor Mike here had an episode about 2 years ago, and him and his partner get on their phones. They start self-medicating, which is pointless, and they end up getting in their cars to go to the local ER. They end up waiting 4 hours. And door to door, it was 4 hours to wait, 4 hours to see a doctor, and then get home. And that just tended to be a really bad experience for somebody who wasn't really in critical need. And so I called up my colleague Raghu, and I said, well, what do you think was wrong? And we actually figured out that what was wrong was just a lack of information. So Mike chose a facility that just happened to be the closest, but just an extra 1 mile drive. Mike could have went to a facility that tends to have the lowest wait time in town. And so we want to know why this happens and what happens in that 30 minutes. And we found out that patients go through these 3 questions. One, they want to know what type of facility they can go to. Can they go to an urgent care? Will they accept their insurance? Or do they have to go to the ER? Where can they go? Do they have to go to the closest place, or is there somewhere a little bit further? And they also want to know how long the wait is. Just that information just doesn't tend to be readily available. There's also a few pieces of statistics. In 2017, 141 million visits happened in the ER, an average wait time of 171 minutes. But within that visit, 82% of them were discharged within that same visit. So it tends to be, that's just a revolving door and nobody's really addressing it. So we created the first on-demand platform that helps patients search, find, and hold their place in line with immediate care facilities. And the patient journey goes just like this. Patient goes online, which happens 8 million times a month. They do a search for the closest facility after they self-medicate. They end up on our platform. Last month alone, we had 700,000 people end up on our platform. They get geolocated, they put what type of facility. In live Margus, they're able to see the closest facilities around them and the next available time. They then choose the facility that works best for them. They put in their chief complaints and their demographics, and they click submit. So now they've held their place in line so they don't have to wait when they show up. And all the facility gets is something like this that shows them all that information that patient just gave them, and they just click export, and it exports seamlessly right into their EHR. And by that, we're able to create 3 main value propositions. One, we're able to reduce wait times by 35%. We're able to improve their net promoter score by 40% and increase revenues by decreasing their leakage inside of the health system. And because nobody's really gone after the market in terms of immediate care and technology, we've actually seen a lot of competitors. And we differentiate in 5 major ways. One, we've created a marketplace that encompasses all immediate care. 2, we've made really seamless software that integrates with the top 8 EHR systems. We've created AI that's actually proprietary. When we calculate the next available time, it's not just the wait time, we're also using the data in between the patient, the traffic data in between the patient and that facility, so we're creating a unique experience for everybody, and we're highly customizable for every facility, so they're able to give out the right messaging that they want per patient. And we have a SaaS business model. We charge $5,000 a month per ER, $750 per urgent care, $250 per retail clinic, and we roll out regionally to health systems that happen to own urgent care facilities. And our market is really big, as anybody in healthcare would say. Our TAM in the United States is $1.2 billion, and it's worth $10 billion globally. We're currently in 4 markets and we're expanding to 3 more by the end of the year, launching LA next month. And we're founded by a team of people who have a lot of experience. I myself was a founding executive at a company called ZocDoc based out of New York. After that, I went on to found a company under Bitsonline that was sold to Aetna, and then Title Care just after that. My colleague Greg was a C-level person at companies like Theragy, Elsevier, and Paychex, where he's built robust platforms for millions of users. And my colleague Alexis out of Canada was on an early team to help pivot the country from universal-based healthcare to single payer. And our progress today has been stellar. 700,000 users on a monthly basis. 48 customers have booked us around the nation. We have $145,000 in monthly recurring revenue booked with $52,000 in after revenue last month. And we're currently raising, or almost closed, a $2 million current round. And you'll be joining investors like Quake Capital out of New York, who we just rated top 10 seed investors in the United States, and Startup Bootcamp as well. So I asked any investor, and we actually, with that round, we're actually releasing our new user experience that will allow patients to just put in their symptoms, and we'll just tell them we're ready to go, really creating a unique experience. And ask anybody who wants to join us in crushing the weight.
Thank you.
So, if you decide to go to a new marketplace, what are the things that you need to do to validate the facilities and sign them up and get permission to do the integrations or the...
Yeah, so we actually currently actively sell in about 15 different markets, just so we can build the pipeline for the future. We pick the next markets based off of where the majority of our traffic is coming from. So that's why you see us in Houston, which was really our first city that we went to because we were getting the most traffic there. And so, in the early, a year ago when we first started bringing on customers, we did anything we could in terms of pilots or early LOIs with reforms if that need to be. But at this point, we're able to have a steady pipeline. We're able to start closing those customers. And when we show hospitals those kinds of numbers in terms of the traffic and our current conversion rate, which is about 40% of the traffic actually does a search, they tend to be really excited to join.
So you have salespeople on the ground, obviously.
Yeah, we have 5 of us right now who are currently selling. We're all spread out across the nation.
In any market, and these markets you're in, what percentage of the emergency rooms and the urgent care centers do you have?
Well, we're not, like in Houston, we have probably about 20% of them there. We really only want to have around 30% just because of, having the supply and demand problem. I don't want too many facilities and then, not enough patients going to them. Unfortunately, most of them do buy us for one of 2 reasons: better quality score because we're able to reduce the wait time, but then also add revenue and patients. So if we're not delivering patients to the platform, they tend to not be happy.
So I have a question on the user experience. So let's say my hospital is signed up and Mitch's visit. Does this show up on the app?
So first, we're not an app. We actually are just a mobile responsive site. We tend to grab patients in a Google search, so I don't want to have them download an app. 2, if you're in an unlive market where we're not local, we tend to have a bunch of the closest locations. So we're at least getting that data where patients are trying to do the search and make a decision. But when we are in a live market, as long as we have full coverage in that area, then we won't have anybody else but our customers.
So you could be sending me 10 miles away if another someplace 1 mile away, because that's not a custom.
That could be true, and that could be a situation, but you'll also see the next available time. So if that says you'll be seen in 3 hours, you're most likely not going to make a decision at that facility.
And would you show me facilities that weren't in my network of my insurance company?
So with the new experience, so right now we don't have it where you can filter out based on your network. That's really most prominent when it comes down to urgent care, because not every urgent care takes every search. I know every ER is set up differently. However, what we're able to do is with the new experience, you're able to tag in your insurance plan, and you can take a picture of it if you want, and it'll filter out just who's in network. It'll also tell you who's out of network, but you can still go there if you want.
So it sounds like there's competitors now that are entering into the marketplaces, and you're in the markets that you're in, you're trying to balance supply against demand.
Sure.
Doesn't it really become a land grab at some point to be able to penetrate those marketplaces, become the predominant player?
So it kind of does, it definitely land grab. However, I've learned from my history in the marketplace world in healthcare, whoever owns the marketplace tends to be the major player, even if your software is not as good. And so most of my competitors are white label platforms, and so their hospital customers have to then spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on billboards and other advertisement routes to then acquire those patients. And our goal is to never have to have our customers do that. So as we continue to grow, we envision 3 years from now, most of our competitors are going to have that huge churn rate, where we're not going to have that.
You mentioned that 82% of the patients are discharged. There's other companies that I've seen that try to provide a solution based on the fact that so people go to the ER that don't really need to.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking into addressing that at all?
So the new experience where patients are putting their symptoms, we've actually been working on that for the past year with our medical advisor. It's a lot of data taken in play. We actually got the data set from NHS in the UK to build our prototype. And we're able to address that from there. So when patients are telling us what's going on, we are actually putting them in the buckets, 5 buckets, they're acuity level buckets, and then we're directing them from there. They don't know we're doing all that, it's all on the business logic side. However, with that, we're able to then address that up front. And so that's why we're actually able to now start talking to some of the payers, because that's their goal. But the problem, just like a 2-year-old, you tell people not to go to the ER, they go to the ER. And that's why we've seen massive growth in that.
Okay, thank you. So next up will be antibiotic adjuvant.
Hello, I'm David Flores. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Antibiotic Adjuvant. We have created software called Smart Steward, and doctors use our software to optimize antibiotic prescriptions, and nursing homes use our software to comply with infection control and antibiotic stewardship regulation. This regulation came about because there's a massive problem with the overuse and misuse of antibiotics. According to the CDC, at any given moment, 30 to 50% of antibiotic prescriptions are either unnecessary or incorrect. This leads to the massive problems of antibiotic resistance, and that's why the regulation happened. And the regulation is coming due in November 2019 for nursing homes. And if they do not comply with this regulation, they're going to face severe penalties on their facilities, including closing the facilities. And the sad reality is that nursing homes are not prepared for this change. Nursing homes cannot afford staff, support staff like infection disease specialists above $50,000 per year. Plus, it's going to add workload to the nurses. Not only that, if they were to do this process manually, they cannot reduce antibiotic use, which is the whole intent of doing this, of making this regulation. Skilled nursing facilities cannot lower antibiotic use because there's a miscommunication between doctors and nurses, what creates other problems. Doctors don't have all the information they need at the moment of prescription to determine if a patient needs antibiotics or not. And there's also a lack of coordination to lower antibiotic resistance while treating for infections in the facilities. So this is where Smart Steward comes into place. We have created a turnkey antibiotic stewardship and infection control software. Our software provides all the information doctors need to determine if a patient needs antibiotics and how to prescribe them. We coordinate antibiotic use so that we can treat for the infection and also reduce antibiotic resistance on the facility. This is seamless for the doctor. They never know what's happening. Then we tell the doctor the right dosing, timing, and frequency on each prescription. This is unheard of right now. Plus, we completely automate all infection control and antibiotic stewardship for the nursing facilities. So we're saving the nurses time and the facilities lots of money every year. We started this process in winter 2017, in December 2016, when we got into the winter class of Bio, the biotechnology accelerator out of San Francisco. From there, we created our first private beta. At the moment, we have 3 facilities using our product. The logos are right here, Ayers Pro City and Avante at Ocala. And we're already seeing a decrease in antibiotic lens therapy, a decrease in antibiotic use, lower antibiotic resistance, and better communications between staff. So why us? We're the first company to get to market a proactive antibiotic stewardship program. Every other antibiotic stewardship program out there, including the ones at hospitals right now, are reactive. That means they have to wait until something happens so they can take advantage of what's happening there. We are automating the whole compliance piece. This is huge for nursing homes because they just don't have the resources to comply. We're coordinating the antibiotic use. We're the only company who's using IT to coordinate antibiotic use in the whole facility to reduce antibiotic resistance. And we provide adaptive decision support for doctors when they need it the most, which is at the moment where they're making an antibiotic prescription. Our big vision is to control antibiotic resistance in the world. To do this, we're getting through skilled nursing facilities because they're looking for a solution right now. But this will enable us to get the cash and resources to do the algorithms to go into acute care on the small hospitals, rural hospitals, the bigger hospitals, and then affect changing the whole community. That's what we're planning to do.
1 minute.
We're asking for $500,000 as an angel round. This is going to get us to full production of our product and the first sale. Right after, in 2019, we're going to raise $1 million, and that's going to get us to $2 million in annual recurring revenue. We have a great team. I have been doing sales and business development for the past 13 years. Luis Garcia, our CTO, has been doing enterprise software application for the past 13 years. And Dr. Robert Yancey is an infectious disease specialist. He has implemented 5 different antibiotic stewardship programs in the States, in Florida, and he's also an infectious disease specialist who has sold the company in this space. I hope you can join us in saving antibiotics for future generations. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cal. Judges?
So can you explain your revenue model?
Yes.
A little bit more?
So we're SaaS. We charge per bed $15 per month for skilled nursing facilities.
What are the risks associated with you making recommendations on dosages and such to the physicians and nurses? I know they're writing the script, but you're making recommendations?
Yes, physicians can change the recommendation at any moment. It's a recommendation. So obviously there's always a legal risk, but it's minimum because they can always change it. As long as a physician is doing the prescription, they take the risk.
So it's a clinical tool though, so are there any FDA requirements for you?
There's not. We have a consultant with FDA and there's no clinical requirement. If we were doing the recommendation for the doctor and they couldn't change it, they would be.
What have you learned from the 3 case studies that you're working on right now with your clients?
So we started thinking it was all about antibiotic use, and then when we got there, we realized there's a miscommunication problem. Most doctors are off-premise in nursing homes, so it was really important to make the nurse job easier, and normally nurses are overworked right now. So adding this regulation, that's what we have taken a user-centric approach, which we have interviewed the lowest level nurse to the administrator and even the executive at the different facilities. We have talked to executives of over 20 groups covering 800 facilities, and we have gotten to the point where we know how the workflow is between the doctor and the nurse. So we have integrated ourselves into that workflow to save time to the nurse, but also to make the job of the doctor easier. Because doctors are all about speed. They want to see a lot of patients really fast, whereas the nurses are about quality of care and making sure they spend time with the patient. So our software allows them to do that.
Are these pilots going to convert to paid customers?
That's the hope. So every group is three different. The nursing homes are owned by bigger groups. Each one owns about 10, 15, and 20 facilities. So we're talking to them so that we can, from the current pilot, convert the whole group. If it was just one group, if one facility is probably easier, I would say yes right away. But because it's the whole group, it's a little bit more challenging. But the ROI is there. Like you see, it takes them $50,000 plus to comply. Our solution is going to be $18,000 a year, minimum.
Do you have any other facilities on the pipeline besides the parent companies of who you're in right now?
Yes, so we have 4 other groups, including the second biggest one in the United States we're talking to. They have 450 facilities, so in total it's about 530 that we potentially can go, so 450 available. So it's about 6 words.
So you said you're the first one to market. Are there other competitors working on a similar problem?
So there's people working on the problem. The main problem with all competitors, they claim to do antibiotic stewardship, and what they really do is reporting. Antibiotic stewardship is affecting the change of antibiotic use. If you do a report, it's going to be reactive. So a pharmacist will have to go and review the case and then ask the doctor to kindly do better next time. That doesn't work. That's what in statistics happens. That's what happens in hospitals right now. We are going in front of the doctor when they're prescribing, and we're saying, doctor, don't think. Here are 3 antibiotic recommendations. All of them work for disinfection, but they also control antibiotic resistance. And we're giving them already the right dosing, so they don't, it's faster and more convenient. So the competition is there, but it's not effective.
Okay, thank you, nice job.
Thanks.
Okay, last but not least. Fortress.
Hello, my name is Massimo Chirini, and I'm going to pitch to you Fortress. What is blockchain? I certainly did not know until last night when I was playing Fortnite. Think of 100 players jumping out of the battle bus and spreading across the map. Think of each one of those players as a node on a blockchain. Each of them start off with 100 health, and that 100 health is their identity. Thank you. Now to the CEO and founder of Fortress, Alessandro Chiarini.
So I just happen to pay for all those Fortress attributes that he has to buy every night, but getting down to the problem is identity, right? So identity today is usernames and passwords. How many passwords do you guys have? More than 10? So everybody's trying to get rid of them. Everybody's trying to use Google Authenticator, different technologies. We've all determined that biometrics is the next phase of passwords. So we started out with fingerprint, they're starting to get hacked. We started out with facial. Microsoft doesn't like facial these days. So we've decided that voice is the next generation of passwords. So we went out and did 3 years of research and development. We came up with our voice biometric engine. And what we believe is that there's many problems in identifying users. One is the use case. Is it hot? Is it sunny? Is it sweaty? Is it wet? There's all these different cases. So even though we started as a voice biometric company, we're now evolving into a multimodal company. So we're going to let the users know that if it's hot, if it's sunny, if it's sweaty, we will let you know which biometric works the best. So with different sets of solutions, what we've determined what voice makes a strong case is you can't steal a voice. You can steal a fingerprint, you can steal a facial snapshot, but if someone steals your voice print, we'll just ask you to say something different. So it's not like they can grab your vocal cords and take them with you. The other thing is voice is very convenient to use. So what are our marketplaces? We've got artificial intelligence, we've got chatbots, we've got everywhere where you want to identify a user, whether it's in a mobile app, in a healthcare environment, in a government entity environment. We have a pretty large market. So what do? We're developing our in-house voice biometric, and we're now filing 3 patents on recognizing voice faster than the competition. So why are we better? We're smaller, we're faster, we're now able to do it on a mobile device very successfully, and we're moving into a movement called the sovereign identity. That means that you keep your identity. You don't give it up to a government, you don't give it up to a bank. It's all with you, and the bank only gets a small portion of it. When you need to transact, that's when you talk to each other and they verify that it's you. So that's one of the concepts that we're coming out with. We also make solutions for the enterprise. So we started out with a password manager as an internal joke because we thought passwords are going away, but let's say, what the hell, let's make a password manager. But with that, we came out with an idea to make money, which is let's sell it to enterprises for Active Directory and LDAP and for software development kits so they can use our technology within their existing applications with a simple plug-and-play solution. So that's kind of our enterprise stack of applications. So this is our platform evolution. We have products. We develop those products with certain capabilities. We provide engines, and we provide customers in these spaces right here. Our evolution and why we're raising capital is because we're now launching 2 new products. One of our most exciting products is using a voice biometric identity on a blockchain. So we're starting out with blockchains and identifying the node players on that blockchain on either side of a smart contract. So the blockchain is coming out of those dark days and it's coming into an enterprise scale applications for financial and for healthcare. And in that smart contract negotiation, you want to know who's on each side of that smart contract and make sure you can identify them. We'll be the first company to come out with a blockchain for Corda, for Ethereum, and for IBM's Hyperledger this month. Okay, so there's some benefits and what are our Fortress IDs and Fortress Blockchain Master Key. I'm not going to get too much into the products, but we do have competition. There are other companies that do voice biometrics. We actually used one initially with Leverage Nuance, which is our 800-pound gorilla, but now we've built our own, so we have our own corporate asset. And we've determined that there's other applications where we don't have competitors. So in the Blockchain Master Key, there's really no one out there doing it. A lot of people talking about it. We went ahead and did it. And then the Fortress Sovereign Identity, it's a new concept. People keep their identity. So again, we'll be first to market with these 2 products this year. So we'll be ahead of the market on those 2 products. Market segment, sales strategies, different things that we do there, but that's kind of common, so I won't go
1
minute.
And go into pipeline. We've got 4 active pilots with large banks in Latin America. We have a Latin American market. We have a small U.S. bank market under capitalization of $1 billion that want the technology. They just don't want to pay $20 million for it. So we've got a good market and good traction with 4 pilots that are paid. Those turnovers are starting to happen in September and October. So we're already generating revenue with only having the company be around 3 years. And we've got some financial forecasts. We'll end up being a $40–50 million company, and these are conservative numbers. Why? Because we are a transaction-based company, and when we come out with blockchain and you have a lot of transaction happenings on a smart contract, those transactions can grow quite big. We provide a very small tool that only does 2 things, user registration and transactional approval, and then the rest of it is all built by someone else.
Time. Sorry. Thanks. All right. Nice job. Judges.
Can you tell us a little about your advisory board and the people that you've utilized for your strategic funding?
Yes, so the friends and family around happen to be some big friends. So we had the number 3 at JP Morgan, was the ex-CEO of International Equity, sitting around in the living room, decided to help us build this product and has helped us on the fintech and the financial side. Monica Tremblay is a PhD in healthcare informatics at William & Mary University, so she's determined that there's a definite need to streamline healthcare information and patient onboarding and patient identification. Then we have Sanjay Dio, who's a cybersecurity advisor. He helps us with all the healthcare and fintech cybersecurity boards. And Dr. Prasanna is my partner, is from India, and we have built a partnership with the largest institution in India for research on biometrics out in Hyderabad. So we brought a team of experts on board to build these products out.
How much money have you raised so far?
So we've raised about $975,000. Just last week, we're talking about our Series A with a strategic investor that we're looking to raise about $1 million this year and $3 million next year, based on us meeting our targets. So we structured our raises on a year-to-year basis, and we've met those targets so far.
So lots of products, lots of verticals.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about go-to-market. It looks kind of complicated.
Yeah, so we actually have refined our verticals. It's a great question because we have tons of verticals we could go in. There's identity available everywhere. Because of our financial background with our JP Morgan guy, we're fintech focused. That's our first vertical, so fintech and now blockchain in the fintech. Healthcare is our secondary vertical. We've already built integrations to telemedicine applications and the kiosks inside the hospital. So really those are our 2 this year that we're really going to focus on. We've got a government division that we're starting to build up and really just starting to do more exploratory work, the certifications for military and different things that we do in the government. But that's really more 2019 and 2020. Fintech and healthcare is the one we're really going to focus. And the sub-segments, underneath that are going to be mobile payment applications, e-commerce, and just very precise about where we're going with those markets.
So is this more something that is going to help the consumer, or is it something that will help to give another level of security to the bank, or it really benefits or both?
Great, both. So it starts at the enterprise because they're going to streamline the way that they identify people. It's going to help the consumer because it's frictionless for the consumer. It helps them not have to answer challenge questions and do things like that. So at the enterprise level, it saves them money. And then at the consumer level, it helps them stay with that customer because they don't get frustrated working with that entity.
So eventually I could have my own identity on my phone and not necessarily have to go through. I could then just pick, I want to go to the bank, banking app, or the credit card app, or whatever, and not have to go through, have to put in my password or put my phone print and all that.
Yep.
Because I'd be in already through Fortress.
Yep. So our password manager does that today. It's free. We give that one away. It was more of a proof of concept for us. But what it does is you log in with your voice, and then it'll pass your credentials through all those other applications. We recommend that everybody puts 15-character passwords because they won't have to remember them anymore. The idea is, though, long-term, is those other entities shouldn't be asking for the username and password anymore because we're providing it in the back end anyways. But we're also giving them a voice print, a session, a geolocation of the phone, and so many other things that they're not getting today.
So what do you do with customers in healthcare and fintech that require a change of passwords every X number of days? How do you facilitate that?
Great question. So in our Active Directory product, we actually allow them to do it on their phone. So when they do that password required change every 30, 60, 90 days, it'll let them know. And instead of having to call IT because they forgot it or they need to change it, they can actually just type it on their phone and do it themselves. If they get locked out, they'll be allowed again to do it with their voice print first to give them access, and then they can reset it themselves. So again, it eliminates all that cost of having to call IT and the help desk, and it's usually about 40% of their IT budget.
So Schwab does this today in the fintech, and they don't do it for login, but once you get past login, they use it. Your
Correct.
voice is your password.
That's right.
Why are they not doing it at this level?
So-
You have the technology.
That's a great question. So Nuance started it in the IVR Customer Support Center so that it's coming from the big banks downward. We're just coming from the opposite side, from the consumer facing upward, right, for the ease of use. There is banks that do it fully voice. Santander in Mexico is fully voice, and they do it both for their apps and for transactions and everything else. So it's coming in both directions. Our competition is the way that our voice engine is built is just a lot smaller and more compact to fit on a mobile device than the current solutions today, which are very large and very expensive. So we're going to compete with them in the space of really providing the identity of the user versus just the customer support, verification and identity, which is for us top down, and we're coming kind of bottom up.
Okay, thank you, good job. I have no idea if they'll win, but I can tell you that kid's going to. Live. Okay, so our judges are going to quickly powwow for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to announce the winner and out the clown check. So we're all about to find out. So the judges are going to come up on stage, and we'll announce the winner, and then we'll take a photograph with the clown check. I love saying clown check or something. You understand? I say it all the time. You know. Okay. Judges, thank you again for your great work. I took a lot to get through all the applications and pick the 5, and you deliberated for a while, so it must have been a tough choice. Mr. Hatton, what have the judges decided?
So we decided they were all terrific, and we narrowed it down to today's winner is Zendu.
All right, Zendu, come on up. You are the 2018 Sup-X Startup Competition winner, $25,000 in cash and prizes.